Lately, the tiny American island of Guam has been threatened with annihilation by Kim Jong-un. But it's already been overrun by a foreign enemy: brown tree snakes. The snakes likely arrived on the island on a cargo ship or military aircraft in the 1950s, and now outnumber people on Guam by 10 to 1. Every effort to eradicate the invasive species has so far failed. Vice News went on a night hunt with a biologist who's tracking down brown tree snakes one by one.
It's estimated here on Guam that there's anywhere between 1 to 2 million snakes. Guam has no native snakes, so the native animals had no way to react to such a predator. They didn't know what it was. So with no way to stop that snake, it just came in and spread over the entire island. So there are several species of birds that are no longer found here on Guam at all. All the ones that were here are gone. The forest just completely changed. All the native species are so much rarer now than they used to be.
One of the things that we look for when we're looking for snakes is our light reflecting off of their shiny scales. It can be really difficult right after a rain because everything's shiny. This one's going to be super easy to catch. Yoink.
Here on Guam, nobody likes the brown tree snake. They eat their chickens, they eat small cats. So they're a real nuisance to people in their home life. They'll get in your house. There have been reports in the past of them coming up through the toilet, which is terrifying.
The goal of the USGS is to eradicate the brown tree snake. To do that, they need to understand how the snakes behave. After they catch them, they take them to a lab where they implant tracking devices inside each snake so they can study their movements. The data is then used for various methods of eradication, such as placement of traps and poison.
We're doing what we call morphing of these snakes. We're collecting data on their size, their weight, the gender of the snakes. So brown tree snakes are technically venomous. They're just not really any threat to someone my size or an adult person. A visual check for the male is just kind of roll and express, and that tube that pops out is a hemipene, so that indicates it's a male. These containers are what we're housing our snakes in for surgery. Right now, before surgery, they're in there, they've got a little water, they've got a place to hide so that they kind of can feel safe in this stressful environment. We're using isoflurane. It's an inhalable anesthetic. We'll put the snake's head in this end, and it's going to start inhaling that anesthesia. So when they're completely under, we'll have that amount of time, 15, 20 minutes, however long, to do the surgery. And so I'll go ahead and start with a small incision. And we'll take our transmitter and just slip it inside the body cavity. Just like that. So the transmitter itself is less than 5% of the snake's total body weight. It has to be small enough that it's not going to add a significant amount of weight to the snake itself. We're ending the surgery by putting in a few sutures and closing the incision at the transmitter site. We're going to move the snake over to the recovery area. So I'm going to put this tube in the glottis and give it a couple of breaths. And this helps get any leftover isoflurane anesthesia out and simulate a breathing response in the snake. We'll monitor it for a while to make sure it starts breathing on its own again. And then early next week, we'll let it go back into the wild where it was caught, and we'll start our telemetry study tracking them out in the wild. So it's definitely working. And you can hear, like, as we get farther away, it gets quieter and quieter. The more that we know about these individuals, the easier it is to find control methods to help suppress them or eradicate them. I definitely think that we can get the snake population to a point where native species can be reintroduced.